It is Parallel Frequencies. I am just Blane, and that is Coco over there. And if you have never been here before, welcome, first of all. Right, Coco? We want to welcome everybody.
Thanks for joining the freaks.
The freaks out there. If you have been here, then you know the drill. You know that we're going to talk through, get that? We're going to talk through shows and movies, not over them. You know, we're not going to just throw stuff out there.
Yeah.
We're not looking for...
Yeah, we're getting dirty. We're getting our hands messy. We're getting all into it, right?
Yeah, we're not looking for... We're not doing hot takes for noise, you know? I mean, I'm going to do my hot takes probably more frequently than most. But today, I am super hyped up and amped up because it is our first Wistful Wednesday. Now, Courtney, tell me what the hell Wistful Wednesday even is, because... I mean, I'm excited, but I don't know what it is. What are we doing here?
You know, Nostalgia Wednesday just didn't quite have the same feel to it as Wistful Wednesday. But I really wanted to incorporate, my family has a tradition on Sundays that if we watch a movie or if we do screen time with the kids, it's movie from your childhood day. So my husband and I, we take turns, we pick movies that meant something to us or that influenced us. And I think it's really healing to go back to our inner child and nurture that part of us. And when you watch a movie or a TV show that you really enjoyed in your youth, it's sort of like time travel. It takes you back, right?
I love that. So wistful doesn't really mean sad. I was thinking sad, but it means it's like you cared about it, right? Like it's
wistful, like nostalgic, like like that feeling.
So it's one of those things like if something pops in your head right now, just hold on to it and we'll circle back around and then talk about that movie, because it's not necessarily a movie or a TV show that happens right now. Like we're talking about stuff that's 20 years old, right? Like,
yeah,
I like it. Never Ending Story. That's the first one that popped in my head.
Yeah, we definitely need to cover that.
Then I think that'd be a huge Wistful Wednesday. Have you heard the rumors about the Never Ending Story reboot, plural? There's multiple Never Ending Stories movies that are going to come out. There's going to be some kids versions maybe. But then the one I'm excited about is this rumor that A24 may make a Never Ending Story for adults. It'll be R-rated. Could you imagine? I bet that's going to be terrifying if they do it.
See, that's going to take all of that nostalgia from our generation who watched it as kids and loved it, and it's going to take it into a different direction that A24 could do with it. And I think those of us who loved it as kids are going to love that direction. I think it's going to be awesome.
If you think about it, watching it as a kid, it wasn't just a movie. It was an emotional endurance test. Like, it was a lot going on. Now they're going to do it again to us as an adult. Like, come on, man. I don't know if I can handle this.
Next level. You got to level it up somehow.
I wonder what that big dog's going to look like. What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
What is he going to look like out there?
That's probably the scariest part. But I will never, ever think anyone could top the big tortoise guy thing that talks to him, you know, and is allergic to Treyu and sneezes. That is ingrained in my memory like nothing else.
And I forgot, it's ingrained in mine too. Falcor, that's the dog, the damn dog's name. I don't know how I forget that.
Right. That's the thought that came to my head, and then I didn't want to say it because I was sure I was wrong. But yeah.
I was gonna actually say Hodor, and then I was like, wait. I don't want to sound like an idiot, but I'm not going to sound like an idiot, but I'm still going to sound like a nerd. But yeah, Hodor was Game of Thrones. Falcor, that's the dog in Never Ending Story.
Falcor.
Yeah, like A24 they could scare some people with that. They could really scare some people. Put us in can you imagine watching this movie with A24's grief, accountability, existential dread? I don't know if I can handle it.
Yeah, and how would they tie it all together full circle like they do at the end, you know, never ending story. I think there was a real reboot of that movie. I think people really came back to watch the old one when they did the song on Stranger Things and it was being sung over the radio, everyone listening. I think there was a big reawakening of that movie.
Maybe that had to be what it was from. I mean, it did make that movie pop. Stranger Things makes everything popular. We're popular off Stranger Things. The only people You watching and listening right now, I'm guarantee you watch Stranger Things, and you probably found us that way. And we're okay with that, because that's one of the best shows. And we're going to talk about that show forever. It'll be up there.
Yeah.
It'll be a Wistful Wednesday, Courtney, when we're 60 years old. Yeah, when we're 60 years old still doing this podcast here, maybe we'll have it on for Wistful Wednesday. It could kind of fit the Wistful Wednesday vibe, though, now.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people nostalgic for the 80s, right?
Right. And that's what Wistful Wednesday is today. We got one of my favorite shows from the 80s that we're going to talk about. Before we do, though, we actually caught up with one of, it's hard to say, like, who was the top bill of Cheers. They all were. But he's one of the main actors, Cliff Clavin, my favorite. We caught up with him at FanX, right? What were we doing at FanX?
We were there with Promise to Live, getting some really great clips of some amazing celebrities talking about their messages of hope and some of their darkest and most hopeless moments that they shared with us. It was a really amazing time to get that.
And we got to catch up with John Ratzenberger. And I really, before we went on with him, we kind of set him up, and I'm like, hey, I'm a huge Cheers fan. You're Cliff Clavin to me. And he gave us kind of a Cliff Clavin type answer, did he not? Like, let's take a look at this when Coco. Now listen, Cliff Clavin. Like, I feel like I know you.
You're like my buddy. You were hanging out in my living room all my life.
What are we having for lunch?
Right there, Cliff Clavin.
He says, what are we having for lunch? And I'm like, I think roast beef feels like a Cliff Clavin kind of lunch. Do you think maybe you'd come over for some roast beef sandwiches?
Very rarely am I like speechless and don't know how to react to what somebody says. But I mean, I asked for it though. Off camera, I was like, hey, let's do some Cliff Clavin type stuff. And it was instant. But I think Cliff Clavin is a part of John Ratzenberger. I mean, he has to be at this point. He sat on the end of the bar.
I get the impression he's very proud of that role, because I think, well, we'll find out a little bit later as we talk about it, but he created Cliff. He created Cliff.
He did. And the show that we're going to talk about today, we didn't even mention, but you already figured it out. And if not, what are you doing? But Cheers. And we're going to do season 1.
Just season 1 for now. We had to tidy it up. But oh my gosh, is there anything more nostalgic from our childhood than Cheers? Just the set alone, the colors, the exposed brick walls and the wood mahogany, everything, the brass features. And it just takes you right back to when it started, 1982.
It does. And I always said that when I get rich, I'm building in my basement. My whole basement's going to be a replica of the Cheers bar. I don't even drink anymore, which is funny because Sam Malone, Ted Danson didn't either. He's a recovering alcoholic. That could be me. I could be the recovering alcoholic running a Cheers bar out of my basement.
If he can do it, we can do it. And I'm all right with just some nice fruity seltzer drinks, and that's fine. Because it's not about the alcohol. I don't think it ever was. I think Cheers creates an entire experience for the people that are coming down those stairs, coming into that bar, and for all the viewers at home that watched it every single week. But it wasn't an instant hit, right?
No, it wasn't. But the bar isn't really the point here. It's belonging all the way from the intro song, it's everybody knows your name. I don't think it mattered that it was in that bar. It could have been any bar. And that's how it related to everybody was. This is no different than me hitting the bar with my buddy and sitting there and for hours and talking about nothing really, like whatever's going on. Like that's what it was. And you're right. Season 1 was the worst rated TV show, not just episode. It was the worst rated TV show. I think it was like number 280 something out of 280 something. Like awful. Nobody watched it. They kept rolling with it, but we're not going to talk about season 2. We're going to talk about this awful season because when you watch it, it's not awful.
It's not. In fact, some of the scenes from season 1 are some of the most brought back and clipped out and repurposed clips from the show all came from season 1.
Yeah, some of them from the first episode. Like Sam walking into the bar. The opening scene of Cheers is the final scene of Cheers. In season 11 or 12, however many they went. It's the same thing. It's Sam walking into the bar and walking out. Like, that's it. And you figure this out. But it's a show that just like, if they would have ended on season 1, people would have been mad. Sure, it's awful ratings, but the show itself was Cheers from the core. You know, it was already there. It was set. Nothing really changed along the lines of.
Yeah, they just kept with the same great writing, the characters, cultivating the characters more and more of an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Which is why everybody in that cast was needed and valued for what they offered, because you had all kinds of dynamics and relationships that you could play with for, many more seasons to come.
And they did.
But yeah, they didn't change anything. They just kept going, which gives you a lot of hope for people out there when they think maybe they've failed or what they have to offer the world isn't being received the way they thought it would or the way they want it to. Sometimes that's the way it goes the first time around. Look at Arrested Development. I mean, other series that came after this, which did not get the credit it deserved until after people started discovering what an amazing show it was.
Which is wild. Like, Cheers, and a lot of these shows out there, they do have this almost like freshman feel, and you watch the later seasons, you're like, oh, I could tell that's season 1. Not really with Cheers. Like, you can put a random episode on from the season, and there are... Sure, you can pick it out if you're a big fan because Frasier's not there. Coach is there. Woody Harrelson's not in the mix yet. So there's a lot of things you can see. But the essence of the show never changes. It's there from the first. And I think they even bring up, like you said, I believe it's episode 1, when Diane and her husband-to-be and all that break up and he leaves and he comes. They bring that back up in another couple seasons. You know, he's back. With Diane.
Yeah, Sumner.
Oh my God, what a piece he was, huh?
Yeah. As I was going through my rewatch too, I noticed it's actually episode 2. Okay. That is the famous line that Diane says, where she says to Sam, on behalf of intelligent women everywhere, may I just say, whew. And I have seen that particular line repurposed and re-put out there anytime Cheers is mentioned in award shows or anything else. That seems to be the clip I see the most. And I'm like, that was episode 2 of season 1.
The chemistry between Diane and Ted Danson's character, Sam Malone, from the beginning. And people have talked about this forever, you know? Like, it's, you can't teach any of that. Like, that's built between them two on set, and it is something to watch because it's emotional at times, make you laugh, make you cry, make you do all that, make you remember the lines they say. They had a almost irreplaceable chemistry, and sure, they tried to replace it later with Kirstie Alley, but it was a different chemistry. It was never going to be replaced to Diane.
Never played exactly the same, but to everyone's credit, being different, still so watchable. I mean, it's not that Kirstie Alley came in and was like replacing Diane or was, supposed to be that exact same dynamic. It was like it came in and offered this completely new, its own thing. I think it did a great job of that. I know there are probably people that disagree. There are people that are like, there are many critics saying Cheers is one of those shows that never jumped the shark. And there are other people that would disagree with that. Yeah. With Diane leading the show.
Yeah.
I personally think they did not. I personally think that everybody who contributed to this show, whether in the early seasons or late, it was absolutely great the way it was. Wouldn't change a thing.
I mean, season 1, you're sitting there and you're watching a community form. That's what we're doing the entire season. Like, we're learning everybody's name. We're learning everybody's routines. You're in the same, and you know how I feel about the TV shows and movies that are in one stuck location. I love it. I've always loved that because if you can entertain me from one spot and not have to leave and do anything else, you've done something. You've accomplished something, I believe. that you didn't have to distract with a set. Now, yeah, the Cheers bar, iconic. But then again,
right. I think it's a character of its very own setting.
Big time. But every neighborhood's got a bar that you can relate to, and you go and you see the same faces and you do all that. You know, like I said, it's watching a community form in real time that only grows stronger. We even get to know the patrons around the bar. The extras that were in the shots end up getting lines later on. Paul was one of them. Like, there's all kinds of people in this show that without them, it doesn't happen. You know?
Yeah.
That's the big picture. It doesn't happen without any one of these pieces. In season 1, if they are removed, it might have been canceled after season 1. And that's a bold statement, I know, but very possible. It's very possible.
Yeah. A lot of factors went into whether this show was going to continue or not, if it had executives who were supporting it at the studio or the network. A lot of little things had to contribute to all of that continuing it on. I mean, I think it would have been canceled today in a lot of standards. It would have been like, well, it's not making us the money we want. It's out. There's so much rotation in shows now with streaming that it's a completely different world now. But because of the right chemistry of who was involved, it got to continue and we got to see it become what it was. And to your credit, what you said earlier, the Sam and Diane dynamic, they kind of coined that will they or won't they influence on Friends, Ross and Rachel, or Jim and Pam on The Office. I mean, all of that came after because of that such great dynamic I think that they created.
Absolutely. But the soul, to me, the soul of Cheers, not Sam, not Diane, is Coach. Ernie Pantuso, played by Nicholas Colasanto, and his jokes and just genuine, like all of it, naivete and the way that he just plays into it, so beautiful. And such a huge loss when he passed. You know, like he didn't make it to the end of the show run.
Yeah.
He didn't make
In
it to the
fact,
end of the show run.
I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to ask you, what do you feel like in season 1, if you were to pick a moment that maybe is really heartfelt or got to you emotionally? My pick would be the episode 5 in season 1, where Coach's daughter comes.
Oh my gosh.
I believe when she comes with a fiance, I think that she's introducing to Coach, and she's like, and I think he kind of treats her like crap. It's, Coach is like, what's going on? Why are you with this guy? And she's kind of homely looking, at least to most beauty standards or whatever. I don't really subscribe to all that. I think she's gorgeous, but she's like, I'm not beautiful. I'm not. And there's a scene where they're in Sam's office and she's about, he's looking at her like she's the most beautiful thing in the world. And she says something like, and he goes, you look like your mother. And she says, but mom wasn't. And then she stops and looks at his face as he's looking at her. And she said, mom wasn't comfortable with her beauty.
Yeah.
And I cry every single time I see that scene. Every single time I am in tears. It is so heartfelt.
I remember that episode too. I believe that one had a joke at the beginning that probably wouldn't fly today. And it was a pedo joke. Yeah, in the opening scene, it was the pedophile joke.
I know what you're talking about, with the girl who walks in and he's talking about Nina, his neighbor, who he's got kind of a crush on. And he's like, I don't know, she's a little younger than me. And then, but she's going to meet me here soon. And then this like Girl Scout type walks into the front, and Diane grabs Coach and goes, you're going to jail.
Yeah. Is that the same episode, or was that another episode in the season?
That was a little bit earlier, actually. Yeah, that was one of those like cold open kind of things that they do in Cheers. Are good at doing, but it was just around that same episode. It was very close, but I know what you're talking about, and I thought the same thing. I was like, ooh, that was dirty.
There's a lot in Cheers. There's a lot of stuff in Cheers that probably wouldn't fly today. It barely flew then. I mean, Sam and Diane hit each other. Like they physically slapped each other. Like, which is, to us, we're like, it's slapstick, it's funny and all that. But if you see a man slap a woman in real life, you're probably not going to
No, that's
It's not
not the
gonna
good
fly.
guy in the story, right? You definitely don't
No.
put him on the pedestal as the hero. But at least
you
in
asked
that
me-
scene, Diane is like not having it, right? She's standing up against
Yeah.
pedophilia in that instance, and he's like, no,
Yes.
no, that's not Nina, that's not her. So I
Yes.
think they can get away with it. I don't think it was as bad as all that, but yeah.
Maybe it hits harder today. I don't know than it did then. I'm not sure.
We have
Could be what's going
a lot
on.
going on.
Yeah. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe it touched us a little bit differently these days than it did 20, 30 years ago. But you asked me, like, what scene for me
Yeah.
is the most emotional or whatever. And honestly, it's the first proper Norm. It's when they give Norm and he walks in and it gives a spill. And
Yeah. That's that
to
up.
me, that's the moment that the show invented the ritual. It tells the audience to stick around. You're welcome too. It's not just to Norm. It's like, hey, I feel welcome. I feel it feels friendly in here. And it's a joke that kind of it becomes a handshake, It's the tradition. It's the feeling. All of that coming together. And it was something that wasn't even supposed to be in the script. Norm did that himself. And they had to start writing. Every week they had to come up with something clever for him to come in there and say, because it hit so hard. I think that's me. And it's because we lost Norm last year. That's probably why it hits me harder now. And I love Norm and Cliff. Norm and Cliff on the end of the bar. It was one of those things. It's like it never got old, but you knew exactly every episode what they were going to do. Which is that's hard to do. You can't make people entertained by giving them the same thing every week. Cheers broke that thought.
Yeah.
There was a formula to it. It really was.
I think you're right. And it did absolutely include the audience and feeling like this isn't just a show you're watching about a bar and a bunch of people who have that belonging and that community and that friendship and those long-standing traditions and rituals that they do, but includes you in it. Even more so, I think, than, other shows did good to kind of create their own sense of it. I think Friends was trying with their coffee shop vibes and the orange couch is come sit, hang out, cup of coffee. We're all sitting and chilling. But I think that they expanded upon that much more into more storylines and more locations and places where you could be hanging out. I think that Cheers just did it best.
They do.
I just think that's
it's always going to stick with me. And the show being community and so character driven, it wasn't always funny. And that's what was awesome too, is like Sam, he's an addict. And he is acknowledging addiction without the dramatics. It's not to celebrate, but it's his recovery is like a daily practice. He's treating it like he was when he was a baseball player. Day to day, I'm going to get through it. And it's not like this big, I'm recovering alcoholic and blah, 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 blah. No, he's still struggling, and that hits me hard. That's relatable to me. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only one. It can't be. So this is a 40-year-old show now. Wow. First of all, wow. 40 plus. But for it to still resonate now with those hard-hitting moments and the funny moments, I don't think anything is like too far, what am I trying to say, like out of time, except for maybe that pedophile joke. But nothing's too far that's removed.
But they did address hard-hitting things. Even in season 1, that was still the introduction to the teammate that is coming out as gay. He's a Red Sox teammate of Sam's, and so he's a public figure. But he, without shame, comes out and says, I'm gay. And, for a show that's 40 years old, that's awesome that they even we're going to say it. We're going to address it. We're going to hit it head on and let it be a topic of conversation. And to your point about alcohol, it was actually praised by the drinking and driving. Oh, what am I trying to say?
The Mothers Against Drinking, one of those or something.
The organizations against drunk driving is that they were right on season 1, Coach establishes that is a no drinking and driving policy, and that they actually show characters who are designating a driver and who are making sure that they're getting home safe and not driving home after after
Yeah.
their many drinks at Cheers,
Many,
which is
many
awesome.
drinks. I also like the scenes where Diane should have left, but she doesn't. And you
Mm-hmm.
know the ones, it's like she just keeps poking and prodding and getting in there deeper to the point to where the viewer at home, you're like, oh my gosh, she's still going at this? Like, I love that because it's what made her her. You know, like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
seriously, the character development with everybody in this is incredible. And I think a lot of it was them themselves, the actors themselves,
Yeah.
really being in this bar. I think Norm and Cliff were drinking real beer at one point. And I think later
Yeah. Some
on,
of it was watered down, but behind the scenes, especially Norm was getting kind of a dulled down version of beer, but it was important that they feel like they were really drinking beers and that they were really a part of this bar. So they did do that. And then, of course, we'll talk about this when we get to the ending of this show. But they did have a moment of everybody drinking quite a bit among the cast.
yeah, yeah. And that's
I won't
what
say more than that.
Frasier, let's just say, we'll get to it. Frasier was
Yeah,
a drinker.
we got to get to the seasons with Frasier and that, because those are I mean, it's just not Cheers without everybody who even is involved in later seasons. But as the beginning of a series, and to what you were saying, your point about the character development, this show is credited for complex female characters, which had not been the norm for television up until this point. So it's great to see Diane and Carla and later Rebecca being real people, real flawed, you seeing all these different sides and angles to a woman, female character, which is awesome. And then Cliff coming into it, as we teased earlier, I tried to tease earlier, John Ratzenberger brought Cliff to the show because he actually did. He auditioned for the part of Norm, and it didn't go quite what they wanted. They were like, not quite right. But instead of just, him going, okay, thank you for your time and leaving, he came back and said, do you have a blowhard? Do you have your know-it-all? And they were like, what do you mean? And he's like, every bar in Boston, trust me when I tell you this, has that guy. And if you don't have him already, I think I could be that guy. And they created Cliff.
Wow.
So he brought that Cliff right to their, silver platter. Here he is. You need this guy. And can you imagine it without him?
Man,
Insane.
no way. Like I said, I can't imagine this show without any of them. And I know we have to, because we like I said, we lost Coach, which they keep a memorial up the entire time. There's that Native American painting, and I believe that's some sort of dedication to Coach, but it's in the background every episode till the end of the run. Yeah, I love. These are the moments that get me. Is when Sam, he's alone with his thoughts. The bar's closing down. It's really parallel to the show, because sure, the laughter fades, but the truth stays, and that's what happens. Even with us, like, we're sitting here talking about the real stuff, the addiction, the coming out as gay in an episode. That's what sticks, the truth. The laughter fades and the truth will stay with you. And that's what Sam is doing when he has to shut the lights off at the bar. And I love those kinds of scenes. It's, those quiet scenes. They say a lot. They say a lot. Yeah. It's the vulnerable. That's when we get to see them at their vulnerable sides,
For sure, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about how much in just the first, I would say the first 4 or 5 episodes of season 1, you're getting these great moments where you get to see exactly who these characters are. Like, they're given an opportunity in the scenes as they're written to really show. For example, Carla's feistiness when her and Diane have to have some one-on-one time to work out some of their differences, and she gets Diane incredibly drunk. But one of, some of those moments like that. But the one I was thinking of when you said that was Norm invites his boss to kind of schmooze him and to like show off and to, maybe get a leg up in his promotion. And so his boss, he kind of promises Diane to his boss, like, hey, there's this great girl I'll introduce you to. And Diane's like, don't debase yourself. Don't debase me. Don't debase yourself like that. But there's this great moment where the boss is really hitting on her and like getting inappropriate alone in the pool room. And when Norm walks in on it, he does not tolerate it. He was a real kiss up. He was a real, whatever you say, sir, kind of employee until that moment. And then he shows that boss what's what. You don't do this to my friends. You don't treat my friends like that. And I just love moments like that where you're like, this is who this guy is. Like he's showing up.
Carla is one of those too that's, like you said, fierce when she has to be. She's basically, she refuses to shrink. She refuses to act her size. She's one of those small dogs that's yippy, but she will also bite the shit out of you if it needs to happen. Like she, to me, was the epitome of a survivalist. She's a mom. She's got 8 kids or whatever. She's just trying to make it,
Yeah.
She's
trying to
loud.
survive?
She is. And she's loud because the world didn't listen to her when she whispered. Like that's what it was. That's what it looks like to me. So she has to be this. Yeah. See, you got a little Carla in you. I know you do.
There's a little bit of my little self. We're talking about nostalgia. We're talking about wistfulness. We're talking about movies from our childhood. There is a part of me who's thinking back on little Courtney, which even little Courtney was watching probably reruns because I was born in 85. Sorry to date myself, but it is what it is. So I was watching reruns of this show, Nick at Night and things like that when it would come out. Carla was influential to me, like very much. Yeah. I was like, I love the way she does not let anybody get the best of her. She is not afraid. And here's what's really great about that. I just have to say, she's not traditionally beautiful. Okay. Do I think she's beautiful? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I look at people and I say, I know they're beautiful. But I think as far as culture goes, they wouldn't be putting her on the front magazine of some fashion magazine or something, right? But that doesn't hinder her from feeling like, I'm not traditionally beautiful or influential in that way, so I need to make myself small and quiet and pleasant and pleasing in other ways. No, instead she's like, I don't look like you want me to look. I don't give a rat's. And I'm going to be me and you are not going to tell me otherwise. And I just love that. Little Courtney loved it.
Unapologetically, Carla.
Yeah.
That's what she really was, right? Like she didn't give a crap. You know what I thought about too is why we probably love going back and watching this show is same reason for the bar. It's like we're returning to it. We're going back to the bar. We're not discovering something brand new. I know at any time I can go to Cheers. If I need that Cheers kick, I can put it on Paramount, turn it on autoplay, and just let it rip. And I'm back in the bar.
Yeah. Cheers and Frasier are two of my favorite comfort background shows. And my sister and I have talked about this also. The two of us both say it because for some reason, those two shows just feel like home. They feel like you're like, I don't actually have to watch it because I already know what happens, but I just like having it around.
That's a great question for you out there. What TV show or movie, or let's go even deeper, job, Discord channel, comment section, what is your Cheers? Where do you go hang out? Where does everybody know your name? Put that in our comments. I want to see because I want to go find some of these places,
I know. Do you have a Cheers? I've always wanted a Cheers. I've always wanted a place where that was like daily hangout, go and everybody I know is there and they go there every day too, and they see me and they go, "Hey, that's you, Coco. Hey, what's up?" 100%.
I like how it's like, it's not every time they're not greeting each other with hugs and all, they just walk in and sit down. They know the drill. They know what, and that's it. And get right into. They don't really do the pleasantries that most people do. Hey, how's the weather today? How are you?
Yeah, we got to catch up. We got to talk about what your day was like and things like that. Honestly, if I knew I was going into a place that everybody's going to hug me, I wouldn't go.
No, me either.
I'd be like,
I'm not a hugger.
You sit down. You stay where you are. I'll just walk in. We'll say hi. It'll be fine.
We've established that before. You're not a hugger. I'm not a hugger. I think me and you have hugged one time in our whole existence of knowing each other. And that was when I got you to talk to Robin Lively. And you gave me a brief hug and hugged her. And you were so excited. And it happened right there.
Yeah, I remember that
That's
now.
the only time.
Because I was like, when was this? But I'll tell you why. And the only reason why is because someone else was there who is a hugger who hugged me first. And then I was like,
and it just,
I guess we're doing this.
It just kicks
so
in.
Funny
Does it not? It's like oh my God, it just kicks in. It kicks in
like,
sometimes. You're like,
okay.
ah.
I guess we're hugging now. I don't know. This is what we're doing. I will hug. I'm okay with that. But I just don't initiate usually. I'm just like,
yeah,
okay. Yeah, this is fine. Whatever. Yeah, that's so funny. So if I came into a place and it was just like, hey, it's Coco, and I could go, hey, and then we could chitty chat or whatever, that would be absolutely perfect for me. And then get into some shenanigans like they do in Cheers. That would be just heaven as a social setting. That would be my heaven. That'd be great.
Well, when I get the money and I get the Cheers bar built in the basement and I'm running it with mocktails, by the way, that's what we should do. Mocktails.
Yeah.
Because I think that's popular.
I love mocktails.
And you can call me just Mayday Blane. Like Mayday Malone. I had to have a nickname Mayday. Like that's got to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this would be fun. I think I've already built the bar without the money, but
we just need that investment. And you know what else? I want to know if we have listeners out there who are bartenders, because I have had the thought, if I want to make some extra money or something, or I need a side job, or I need something to do, maybe I'd be a bartender, because then I could be that one that's behind the bar and I could talk to people and I could like socialize that way. And I could be the Carla or the coach or the, Sam, just kind of shooting the shit with people. But I kind of really because I've never bartended. Like I've never actually done it. So I want to know, bartenders, is it really like that? Or is that just TV? Like, it's actually really, really stressful and chaotic and it's not fun like that at all. I want to know.
Yeah. And add to that, are these characters real people in your bar? And who are we missing? Who is Cheers missing as far as bar patrons now? I want to know that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I
want to hear the bar story. I've never been much one to do bars. I like to go to our local bar, The Break. Once in a while, they have bingo Thursdays, and we had a group of ladies that would get together and do that. And I honestly went for the bingo and the fun and the friends, but I'm not much of a drinker. So I'm kind of like sipping my one seltzer drink or something.
Seltzer water or something or another. Yeah. With
kind of got a little bit of that Cheers vibe.
It does. Yeah. I like that spot. I think it's because it's older. Or maybe it's the wood, made of wood. What's your final thoughts here on Cheers? We got to get into the final thoughts, because if not, we're going to just go on and talk about season 2 and season 3 and keep going. But
we could go on.
What do you got here?
And we'll get to those as we go on. So we're going to make the rounds with a lot of different nostalgic things. So if you're like, come on, let's get to season 2. Don't worry, we will keep watching. We've got a lot ahead of us. The couple final thoughts I had, I loved knowing that it was inspired by Fawlty Towers. That's one of our British comedy sitcoms that also inspired the British version of The Office. Ricky Gervais says that Fawlty Towers was a good one. So if you like Cheers and you're looking for something predated to Cheers, Fawlty Towers is a good one to look up.
Love it.
What I thought was funny was the laugh track. Cheers the show was getting complaints from watchers, audience members saying, you got to tone down the laugh track. It's annoying, or we don't like it, or it's too loud, or whatever. And they had to put in that little disclaimer at the beginning, I think starting season 2, but they had to put it in saying, Cheers is filmed in front of a live studio audience, because there was no laugh track. That was a live studio audience laughing at the jokes. Thought that was hilarious.
I've always hated laugh tracks. We don't have to be told when to laugh. Like, that's what it's there for. It's there to make you at home watching laugh, and you're being managed. You're being told what's funny. You don't have. I would love to see Cheers without the laugh track. That'd be fun. It'd probably be depressing.
The entire vibe is just brought down to like, now it's just kind of a bunch of losers in a bar.
You know what Cheers without the laugh track is? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's it. That's the show.
Might be kind of accurate. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to think that the Cheers characters maybe have a little bit more morality and, I don't know, good-heartedness to them than the cast of Always Sunny, but that may be the tipping point.
Now, I could get into the It's Always Sunny stuff because did an interview with Rob McElhaney a long time ago. He got into how their characters on It's Always Sunny are representatives of the id and the ego in it. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Ooh. He got real deep. That was on Apple Music. We did an interview with him 3 years ago or so. So it gives me a whole nother perspective of how to watch It's Always Sunny, because you find out this guy's not a dumbass. He just plays one on TV, you know?
Yeah, most that's of them pretty cerebral.
Yeah, like that's what it is. So my final thoughts on, or did you have anything else you wanted to say on Cheers here?
I think that was a tidy bow that it's wrapped up in.
To me, Cheers season 1, it's not chasing jokes, it's building the trust. And maybe that's why it bombed until word of mouth and stuff spread. But they're not, I don't know. It's life gets loud, and Cheers is like the place you can go to tune it out if you need to, but be more in tune with everything that you need right there, And Norm said it in one of his quiet lines. He says, it's a little known fact that the beer industry is recession proof. That line is so much deeper than just the joke on the top. And it really shows so much more about what Cheers is. It's coping. Everything there is coping. And he's coping with, it's recession proof because he won't let it go out of business, So there's a lot of similarities to the show itself. And just that one line, it's a lot deeper than that. Life gets weird, rent stays due, and the community keeps the lights on. And that's what he's saying right here in that one line. A little known fact that the beer industry is recession proof. That bar's not going out of business, and none of those people are leaving, is what he's trying to get to. And I think that just summed up the whole show. And season 2, fun. Season 2 is fun. It just takes off from here. I want to make sure that we don't go any further, because if we do, we'll get off onto about doing 12 seasons of Frasier on this one episode and everything else. That's it. That's my wrap on Cheers. Parallel Frequencies. It's just Blane and Coco. See you guys next time.